A fan paid for a selfie. He got thrown out instead. Then a marker scrawled one word across his forehead, like a death sentence. Now the snow is falling hard, the lodge is sealing shut, and bloody carnage will remind everyone what it means to be banned.
What's that? You want to be scared? Come with me. You will experience tales of horror, ghosts, and death. It is not recommended for the weak at heart. Listen in the dark. It's more fun that way. This is Weekly Spooky.
Hello, my spookies. It's Wednesday and a new year. And of course that means it's time for a little spooky in your weekly. I'm your host and narrator, Henrique Couto, and we have quite the story for you tonight as we kick off 2026 with a mini-series, 5 parts revealing themselves every Wednesday. Can you survive? Well, we'll just have to find out. But before all that, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast, especially as the holidays have weaned and most have returned to their ordinary life, but my spookies are anything but ordinary. So thank you for joining us, and if you haven't subscribed yet, well, make sure you do so on your favorite podcasting app, and while you're at it, leave us a 5-star rating. It really does help the show. And if you head to weeklyspooky.com/join, you can get 2 bonus shows every single week, as well as over 6 years of creepypasta readings and exclusive audiobooks at weeklyspooky.com/join. But now, as for tonight, imagine you're headed to a cozy horror movie convention tucked inside a scenic ski lodge. Warm lights, movie posters, autograph tables, and a storm outside that's getting worse by the minute. Now imagine the doors lock, not because of weather, but because someone wants you trapped inside. Because somewhere in that crowd is a man who's been waiting 7 years to get his payback, one victim at a time, until the whole lodge learns a new rule. Once you're banned, you never, ever get to leave. So get cozy, my spookies. We're diving into the first horror story of the new year, and we're doing it right after this. Banned, Part 1 by Rob Fields. 7 years ago. Perspective, Robbie Redden. I pulled up to the Holiday Inn, where the Ridgeway Heights Horror Convention was being held. I can't believe I finally made it. It felt like forever driving the more than 2 hours from North Olmsted, and I left early this morning. Unfortunately, Interstate 71 was a problem, with all the damn road construction going on. Then I got stuck on another freeway thanks to an accident that backed everybody up for a good hour. But I'm finally here, parked and going inside. I paid my admission, got my wristband, and walked into the dealer room. I couldn't believe all the horror merch practically overflowing off the vendor tables. I've been a horror fan for a couple of years now. It was one person who really got me invested. I moved quickly until I finally found her. Darcy Hart. This amazing woman was an A-list actress, but the last few years she was acting in seemingly B-grade horror movies. I'm finally looking at her prices. I figured Darcy Hart was easily charging $100 for her autograph. Getting a selfie with her was an extra $40, but I really didn't care. Darcy Hart was my favorite horror icon, definitely one I've been crushing on for a long time. I was finally going to meet her, and it was just me at her table. I brought my favorite movie that she starred in. Finally, she looked up from her smartphone. Before I could even say a word to Darcy, this other woman rudely called out to me. "It's $100 if you want Darcy to sign that movie for you. If you're not interested, move along." I think the woman sitting next to Darcy was a public relations person, maybe a convention worker sitting with her as her handler. Then I saw the name on her lanyard, Cat, with a K. I placed the movie down and pulled out my wallet. After handing over $140 for both an autograph and a selfie, I said to Darcy, "Ernie's Movie Night was the movie that got me into horror. I've been watching all your stuff ever since. Even bought them on physical media." Darcy still didn't look up. Who am I making this out to? I was about to tell her my name when some guy suddenly appeared with an autographed Blu-ray cover in hand. "Hey, I just paid for your signature, but it's all smeared. Is there any way you can—" Cat cut him off. "It's $100 for each autograph, regardless of what you want signed." "Yeah, I already paid the money for the autograph, but it's badly smeared," the guy explained again. "Darcy signed it for you, didn't she?" Cat snapped. "You want her to sign another autograph for you, it's another $100. Otherwise," she quickly waved him off. The guy raised the cover and slammed it on the table. "I said the autograph is smeared!" Darcy addressed him now. "And I believe my handler here told you to fuck off. When I signed this picture for you, it wasn't smeared then. Obviously, you weren't listening when I told you to let it dry." Now the guy was really pissed. "Oh, this is bullshit. You charge $100 for your autograph. You know how many hours of my life I had to work to afford that?" Darcy rolled her eyes. "I'm sorry. Did I give you the impression that I care?" Wow. She was being a real bitch. Cat pointed at him. "If you don't leave, I'll get security to come and escort you out." He pointed back at Cat. "I'll leave when Darcy fixes this autograph, and you can just fuck off." Two other convention staff people appeared. Looking at their lanyards, they were Terry and Grimm. "What's going on, Cat?" Terry demanded. The crazy guy moved behind me as Cat pointed in my direction. "It's him. He came over here and started harassing Darcy. He was even giving me a hard time." Suddenly, both Terry and Grimm were grabbing me. "Okay, asshole, I think it's time for you to go," Terry said angrily. "Hey, come on," I protested. "It wasn't me, I just paid my money." I pointed to Darcy. "She hasn't given me my autograph and selfie yet." Darcy looked annoyed. "Just get him out of my sight." She picked up my Blu-ray and threw it at me. "And take this shit with you." "But you haven't—" I tried protesting again. "Just shut up and move," Grimm snapped. "Then give me my fucking money back!" I yelled at Darcy. I struggled to break loose when Terry and Grimm forced me to go through the con's side entrance. Soon we were at the hotel's main doors. Once we were outside, those two assholes shoved me into the parking lot together. "End of the road," Grimm said. Terry pointed at me. "Do yourself a favor. Don't come back." When they turned around and went back inside, I followed them. "This is bullshit. I want to speak to the guy in charge." Just then, a man moved away from the people he was talking to and joined the guys who had thrown me out. "I'm in charge here. What the fuck do you want?" His lanyard said Dave. Terry gave me a smug look. You wanted him. This is him. I complained to this Dave about what happened. Then Terry and Grim gave their versions. David sneered at me. If my security guys here say you were harassing a guest, then you did. That means you're permanently banned from my show. He glanced at Terry and Grim. Now, make like garbage men and get this trash out of my sight. I wasn't giving up, not when I drove far and dropped $140. No, fuck this shit, I yelled. Either Darcy Hart gives me my autograph and selfie that I paid for, or she can give me my goddamn money back. Terry and Grim were on me again. They forced me back to the main doors. I didn't care if compared to those guys I was pretty scrawny. I still struggled against them. They shoved me back into the parking lot. Then Terry grabbed my wrist and broke off my wristband. Grim took it from him and pointed at me. You heard Dave. Get lost. We ain't telling you again. I pointed at them. Just give me back my goddamn money if Darcy Hart's not going to give me what I paid for. When the bastards weren't going to move, I tried to run around them to get back through the main doors, but Grim tackled me. Then he pulled me back to my feet and put me in a hammerlock, making me cry out. Terry came over and punched me in the stomach. I groaned and sank to my knees. I didn't care what these fuckers did. I wasn't giving up until I got my money back. Grim punched me in the face now. Then the bastards really worked me over. Finally, Grim grabbed me from behind again and locked me in a full Nelson this time. Just then, that Dave asshole appeared. He had a black marker in his hand. He pointed at me. Hold him good, you guys. I groaned as Dave wrote something on my forehead. When he finished, he smiled. It says, banned. Now take the hint, you fucking pussy. Get him out of here. Grim and Terry turned me back around and forced me through the main doors again. I kept fighting against them and dragging my feet. I managed to get Grim off me and shoved him to the floor. Then Dave took over and grabbed hold. Him and Terry got me outside. When they finally let me go, I turned around to Dave punching me right between the eyes. After I staggered backwards, I barely knew what happened when I felt something big and heavy slam hard into me. Next thing I knew, I was screaming in pain as this fast-moving delivery truck was running me over, crushing me. I felt my spine snapping in several places. The truck stopped suddenly after it finished with me. I was in so much pain that I screamed and cried. I couldn't even move to stand up or get out of the way of the other vehicles. Even the slightest movement was unbelievable intense pain. I managed to see that Dave guy. He just looked down at me but never moved to help or even call an ambulance. But someone did for sure because I heard one eventually coming to me. Even though I was in serious pain, I made myself look at Dave longer. I swear to fucking Christ, I'll be back. I'll fucking get you and your staff for what you did to me. I don't care what it takes. I will get you. Dave grinned and knelt down beside me. You ain't gonna do shit, kid. Not when you're all fucked up like that. You should have just taken the hint. Now you'll be spending the rest of your life in a nursing home. That's just too bad. I cried out when I was put on the stretcher and lifted up. Then I called out, "You're dead! You hear me, you son of a bitch? Dead!" Present day. Terry Witherspoon and James Turner, aka Grim, were just outside the main doors. Oh yes, I made it a point to learn the names of all the staff I was targeting, including you, David Mellencamp. Now Grim was lighting up a cigarette. "That storm's coming tonight. Supposed to be bad," he told Terry. "That's what I heard," he agreed. "Damn, that gust nearly knocked me on my ass." He reached over and tapped Grim on the arm. "We'd better get back inside before we get blown out to that ski jump." "Right." Then Grim stopped. "Ah, shit. I think I left my window down in my car." Terry gave him a dumb look. "Seriously?" "Yeah, I know it sounds stupid. I drove up here with the window down because I like the winter cold." Terry lightened up. "Okay, buddy. See you back inside." When Terry turned and went back in, I followed Grim at a safe distance to where he parked his car. He checked his watch. I knew it was almost 3 o'clock. The dealer room would be opening in another hour. I could hear him pissing and moaning about how Dave told the staff to park all the way out in the back of the lot, saying the main spots should be fully available for the convention and lodge patrons. Grim finally reached his car. Sure enough, his window was down. When he started shivering, he pulled his cigarette pack out of his coat and lit another one. It was when he was taking his first puff that I moved up behind him and grabbed the back of his jacket. "What the fuck?" he cried out as I was pulling him down. Grim hit the back of his head hard on the landing. He was a little dazed when I got on top of him. Then I hit him with my fist. A second time. A third made him spit blood. He was seeing stars now. Grim was heavy since he was a tall dude, but I managed to get him up and into his car. "Yeah, you're right. We'd better close this window, huh?" I said with a chuckle. But first, I pulled out a hacksaw. Grim barely comprehended what was happening until I moved the blade to his neck and started working it fast. He tried to scream but only got out a wet gurgle. I got in and pinned him down as I kept on working. Then his head dropped into the back seat. "First you, James," I said. "Then the rest of you who fucked me over back at Ridgeway Heights. Then David Mellencamp. And finally, Darcy Hart herself." I took a deep breath. "But I'm not finished with you yet, Grim. Almost forgot the most important part." Then I went back to work after I closed up the driver's side window. Perspective, Vickie Valentine. I'm driving in this scenic state known as Michigan. I had to leave Strickfield, Ohio early enough to be able to make good time, making minimal stops for fuel and food. According to the GPS on my phone, I should be crossing into the Upper Peninsula soon. This journey is mine alone this time. Bethany Mirren, my wife, could not accompany me, since she was required to appear at a convention for adult stars that she couldn't get out of her contract for. The convention that I am to appear at is known as the First Annual Horror Snow-In and will take place in a ski lodge rather than a hotel or convention center. From what I understand in researching the event, the promoter, David Mellencamp, is putting his show on after a 7-year hiatus. He used to run the Ridgeway Heights Horror Con before he was forced to sell the current promotions in order to pay off some debts. The Corgan twins have told me that it was regarding some incident involving a patron that ended horribly. I believe Henrique Couto said that the patron's name was Robbie Redden. It seems that Redden had a confrontation with the convention staff that resulted in him being struck down and rolled over by a delivery truck. I'd also heard rumblings that David Mellencamp himself was forced to pay for the many surgeries that Redden had to undergo to help him make as much of a full recovery as possible, thereby bankrupting Mellencamp. Darcy Hart was the convention's top guest. At the time, she was an A-list actress. After the incident, she was fortunate if she was able to find work again, her name having been tarnished. She was lucky that she was not involved in the Robbie Redden lawsuit. The more I see of the mortal realm, the more I long to return to the night realm. Once I was the queen who gained the respect of her people. Then there was an uprising that led to my being violated and injured to the point I nearly lost my head and my kingdom. In order for me to fully recover, it was suggested that I go into hiding here, in the mortal realm. I reluctantly agreed and allowed myself to be transformed into the form that I now am. My former memories were suppressed with new ones. I became Jennifer Smith by legal documents, but I would gain status and fame as a porn star named Vickie Valentine. In time, I would leave sex work to become a legitimate actress in fantasy storytelling, known as horror films. Apparently, I have the gift of acting, because I became in high demand. In time, I attended horror conventions to meet those who were fans of my work. Then, on Halloween of last year, Bethany and I were close to ending our relationship. On that day, my people from the night realm returned for me. My memories were restored, as was my identity. I answered to the name of Vickie Valentine here in the mortal realm, but my true identity is that of a gorgon named Veranda. Yes, a fantasy horror film was made of my namesake, which is quite popular with audiences. Likely the main reason why I am summoned and paid to attend these events. My usurper, Paladin, had returned to try and claim both my head and my throne. Lusting for vengeance, I met the fool in combat. I gained my revenge and allowed him to live. But my would-be conqueror took advantage and had slain Bethany after she and I married in the ways of the night realm. My sorceress Meridian knew of a way to return Bethany to me. It would cost me my immortality and reduce me to a mortal. But I loved Bethany, so I gave it unto her without a second consideration. Bethany was restored to me, and now as a mortal I knew that I could no longer serve as queen of the night realm. Bethany and I both abdicated our thrones to Meridian and my handmaiden, Seraphina. From there I returned to the mortal realm with Bethany. Not too long after, we made our marriage official by the laws of this country. Once I held great power, thanks to a fight to the death with Hellweaver herself. In desperation, I had bitten her and drank some of her blood. This transformed me into a monster with reptilian skin, blank yellow eyes, and even snakes for hair. I had gained great strength and immortality, and could even turn enemies to stone with my gaze. All of this I surrendered to have Bethany again, an action which, to this day, I will never regret. And then I am overcome with negative emotions and suddenly stop my car. I miss Bethany greatly and wish to drive to be with her. Truth be told, I do not wish to attend my convention given what I know about this David Mellencamp. The only reason that I even considered doing it was because Bethany encouraged me. She understands that I am having great difficulty transitioning to living full-time in the mortal realm. Lately, I have also come to be closer to Henrique Couto, who has directed me in many movies. Working relationship only, mind you. I love Bethany far too much to ever betray her. In fact, I'm part of the panel for Couto's next film in his Babysitter Massacre franchise, which is called Christmas Splatters. I reprise my role as Larkin Combs from the David O'Hanlon novels. I go home for Christmas a broken mortal, trying to rebuild her life. Unfortunately, the killer in this latest movie does not wish for me to do so. The Corgan twins did the special effects. Unfortunately, they're not going to be at this convention, as they are currently tangled in another film. Truly, I detest my life as a mortal. Although I have both my memories of being Veranda, I also possess those of Vickie Valentine. You would think that I could easily transition, but it has proven difficult. If it were not for Bethany, I would return to the night realm and live as the warrior woman that I once was before becoming altered by Hellweaver's blood. I resume my journey until I've finally arrived in Binnick, Michigan, and come to the High Point Ski Lodge. There are already plenty of horror fans arriving for the convention. Every instinct keeps telling me to just leave here right now and go to Bethany. But seeing these fans tells me I'm here for them. I understand that they are the reason that I continue to gain bigger and better roles as an actress. I absolutely refuse to return to being a sex worker ever again. I get out of my car and grab my luggage. I walk into the ski lodge and look to check into my room for the weekend. I'm not even to the front desk when a man approaches me. He's wearing a hoodie and a trucker's hat, both displaying different horror movies, a pair of jeans and shoes. He also has a short beard. Based on the photo Henrique Couto sent me, this is David Mellencamp himself, the promoter of his latest attempt to enter the convention scene again after several years. "It's about goddamn time you got here," he says rudely. "What did you do? Take the scenic route? Hope you enjoyed it." I narrow my eyes upon him. I may not have my powers, but I am still a warrior woman. This imbecile shall pay for insulting Veranda. But as I form my fists, this man stumbles over to Mellencamp. "You wanted to see me, Dave?" He turns to him. "Who are you? What the fuck do you want?" The man is thin, has a longer beard, and is wearing a convention t-shirt with a lanyard. Unlike Mellencamp, this man has a full head of hair. He's also younger, though I do not know by how much. The name on his lanyard is Bidon. "Terry said you wanted to see me, Dave," he says. Mellencamp looks at Bidon as if he's wasting his time. Then he softens up. "Yeah, I remember now." He points to me. "You're going to be her handler this weekend." "I do not require a handler," I protest. He turns to me. "Every guest gets a handler at my show." He points to Bidon. "He'll be right there with you to make sure nobody gives you any shit. He'll also get you to your panels when it's time." "Again, no," I say. Melicant looks at me angrily. Clearly this man does not like having his authority contradicted. Then I look at Bidon and see the worried look upon his face. Even though it is clear to me that he is strong, this Bidon seems to be fearful of Melicant. Very well, you are my handler, I tell Bidon. You sure? He asks. Before Melicant can cut in, I take Bidon's hand and bring him to me. Yes, let us get to know one another, you and I. Melicant points to Bidon. Hey, pay attention! You're here to be Valentine's handler, not drool all over her fun bags. I ignore Melicant. Tell you what, if you do an excellent job for me, I will be more than happy to sign whatever you desire. I'll even take photographs with you. Does this sound agreeable? I won't mess up, Bidon tells me quickly. Promise, your every wish is my command. Melicant points at him. You sniveling little bitch. Only reason I'm even letting you on my staff is 'cause the person I originally assigned to Valentine never showed up. You fuck up, you'll be out on your ass. I tighten my jaw. He gets the point. Now be gone. Melicant stares at me. Be gone? Are you fucking serious right now? Now his eyes grow wide as he gazes upon my abundant cleavage. He raises his hand as if he intends to lay hold of my breasts. I quickly reach out and tap Melicant under the chin. My eyes are up here. Look into them when you address me. Melicant shakes his head quickly. Whatever. Then he finally leaves us. When I look upon Bidon, he has my duffel on his shoulder and is handling my suitcase. I am a proud and independent Gorgon female of the Night Realm, and do not require assistance. Clearly Bidon wishes to please me, so I will allow it. I extend my hand. Vickie Valentine. He shakes it. Bidon de Briere, and I'm looking forward to working with you all weekend. Very well, I agree. After checking into the lodge, Bidon accompanies me to my room. He brings my luggage inside and lays it upon my bed. He watches as I unpack my clothing, including my black ball gown, to portray the mortal realm version of Veranda, my horror host persona. When I finish setting up in the bathroom, I'm aware of how much warmer it is, and remove my jacket. After placing it upon my bed, I notice Bidon regarding my bare cleavage. In the Night Realm, absolutely no one gave my large breasts a second thought. Here in the mortal realm, however, it seems they easily mesmerize men. I smirk and snap my fingers. Shall I sign all of my nude pictures for you on Sunday? Bidon gulps. Nudes? I raise an eyebrow. I used to be an adult film actress before transitioning into horror films. Now he looks upon me with wide eyes. You were? I nod once. And now that I've given you some knowledge, I point to the metal suitcase. You shall bring that one with you. Escort me to the dealer room, please. Sure thing, Vickie, he replies. Once we are inside, Bidon tells me to follow him. I allow him to escort me to my assigned booth. Clearly the fool who put the designations on my table could not spell my name correctly and forgot the E at the end of my first name. No matter. When Bidon places my metallic suitcase upon the table, I open it to set up my photos, to be purchased and autographed. In no time, I'm ready for when the convention begins. Since there is time before the event opens, Bidon helps me cover up my table. Even though I do not have my jacket, I still make my way to the door and go outside. I can go back to your room and get your jacket for you, Bidon offers. No need, I return. I don't plan to be out here long. I walk across the snowy parking lot to take a better look at the High Point Ski Lodge. As I round the building, I can see the hills where people are skiing. The lifts are in operation and take skiers to where they desire. Even though I find the idea of having a horror convention here to be preposterous, there is great beauty in Binnick, Michigan. I myself enjoy the snow and colder climate, for there is none in the night realm. Aren't you cold? Bidon asks. It's freezing out here, especially with these winds. We're supposed to have a bad snowstorm coming through here this weekend, starting tonight. If I were any other woman, I am certain I would be cold, but I am Veranda. I glance at him. I've seen enough for now. Let us return to the warmth of the lodge. Bidon and I walk back inside and return to the dealer room. Before too long, the convention will begin. I believe that I shall have a great deal to do here, with a snowstorm in the area. The two of us talk at my table. Bidon tells me that he's a fan of my horror movies. He's still surprised that I've performed in explicit movies, as the queen of porn prior to being rechristened as the Scream Supreme by my multitude of horror fans. And then I see Henrique Couto. He approaches my table. Hey, guess we're sitting next to each other. You ready for the weekend? I raise an eyebrow. Do we have a choice? He laughs a little. No, it doesn't look that way. Henrique and I talk shop as he unpacks his belongings. Unlike everyone else who has crossed me, Couto is the only one who looks me in the face when he speaks to me. Probably because he's seen my naked form enough times for his movies. I've even let him photograph me for his Patreon on a few occasions. Nothing explicit. As for our conversation, he asks me about the scripts he sent me, and if I'm okay shooting here at the convention. Bidon just watches Henrique and I speak. In time, the first annual Horror Snow-In begins. Many fans are walking around the dealer's room. I have a line forming in front of my table. I already talked to Bidon and told him what I expected. So far, he pleases me. Bidon speaks kindly to the fans. I see his questioning expression when he realizes that I do not charge for my autograph on items that fans bring. The only money that I make is on my photographs. Bidon is more than happy to take photos of me with fans. He's even snapped a few where Henrique and I both pose with fans together. Now Bidon suddenly seems upset with me. I'm surprised you're not charging for your autograph, Bidon says when the line is currently empty. Why? I answer. I make more than enough money being in movies. I point to Henrique. In case you haven't noticed, he doesn't charge either. David Mellencamp has been past my table on a few occasions, no doubt to check on my handler. He even asked me how Bidon was doing, not having great expectations of him. After Mellencamp walks away, Bidon sighs. I take his hand and hold it comfortingly. You're doing just fine. Thank you, he says with relief. This is my first convention as staff, and I don't want it to be my last one. I can't promise that Mellencamp will keep you after this show is concluded, I say. But you may continue to be my assistant all weekend long regardless. A new line begins forming in front of my table. Then I see the sneering vermin before me in Cody King. I remember working with him in the Slasher series. In the original film, Bethany was interested in him. For a time, they were a couple. Then Bethany discovered his infidelity and ended things with him. I remember coming to her aid even though we were not the best of friends at the time. She had been living with him until the breakup. I offered to let her stay with me at my apartment at Strickfield Cove. Little did I realize how much Bethany and I would come to care for one another once the barriers between us were torn down. Now, she's my wife. "You selling any nasty porn movies here?" Cody asks crudely. I stand up. "Does it look like it?" Bidon is ready to defend me, but I hold up my hand. "I've got this." "Where's your wifey?" Cody sneers. "I thought you two would be here making porn together. Believe me, I'd love to make porn with you two ladies." Now he points to Henrique Couto. "And fuck you. Thanks to you, I can't even get another acting job." Like me, Henrique is not perturbed. He shrugs and tells Cody, "You were the one who couldn't be bothered to show up on time. You were the one who let a cop catch you doing coke in your van, and don't even get me started with what I saw you trying to do to Bethany Mirren when you two were on set." Cody points at him. "I had to come back there and knock your fucking teeth in." Bidon comes in between Cody and Henrique. Couto has a handler, but he sent her to go get sodas and food. "Either you back off or I can get security." Cody does not regard him. "Don't try talking tough with me, you wimp." Suddenly, Cody lashes out and strikes Bidon, making him fall into my display behind us. Now Cody has incurred the wrath of Veranda. He shall learn this day that I am more than capable of handling cretins such as him. I put my hands on my table and flip forward to the other side. Cody is quite astonished, at least until I use my warrior skills to force him to his knees. He cries out with pain as I barely turn his wrist. "Okay, I give up!" he yells. "Stop!" I release Cody's wrist, just as two staff members approach our table. Soon David Mellicant is there with us as well. He points to me. "You okay?" "Nothing I couldn't handle," I assure him. Then I turn and help Bidon to his feet. Mellicant scoffs. "And you couldn't even keep that piece of shit off Vickie? You know what? Get the fuck out of here right now. You're done." I step up to Mellicant. "If you wish to fire Bidon, I shall return the money you wired into my account and leave." He sees that I am most serious. I know what I'm worth at these conventions today, and I am easily the top draw here this weekend. Mellicant does not like being countered. I myself am not concerned with his wishes. He points to Bidon. "Looks like God is with you this weekend. Fine, you can stay with Vickie Valentine. But you're still a fucking pussy. You let a woman fight your battles for you. A woman!" He throws up his arms and walks away angrily. The two guys that walked Cody out return, Terry and Rob. They both shake their heads at Bidon before they walk away. He looks sad now. "I'm really sorry, Vickie." I raise my hand in front of me. "Not accepted. You are my handler, not security. You did your job at trying to keep the peace and stand up for Henrique and I. I do not expect you to fight my battles for me. No, you remain at my side during this event." Bidon looks comforted at knowing that I had both spoken for him and spoke to him, with kindness. Aside from Cody King, the rest of Friday night went without further incident, at least while the dealer room was still open. Bidon even escorted me to my first panel, where I would sit among other horror hosts, such as Joe Bob Briggs, Svengoolie, Rhonda Shear, and even Count Gore Duvall. When I was finished, I was able to look through the main doors and see that the snowstorm had indeed commenced. Everyone would likely be snowed in until the end of the convention on Sunday night. Perspective, Robbie Redden. I followed that prick Terry Witherspoon as he walked out to Grimm's car. He was cussing up a storm. Then he finally reached it. The driver's side window was still closed. Terry knocked on the window. "Hey, asshole! You sleeping in there? What the fuck?" The window was clear enough to where he could see Grimm sitting behind the wheel. Of course, he wasn't moving. Terry knocked again. "Asshole! You were supposed to run security with me during show hours. Dave's gonna lose his shit when I tell him you've been out here all this time." When Grimm still wasn't moving, Terry finally opened the door. I had to keep myself from laughing my ass off when Grimm's head rolled right along his left shoulder and into Terry's waiting hands. "Jesus Christ!" he screamed and dropped the head. Terry cautiously looked inside and saw Grimm's coat was unzipped and his convention t-shirt torn open. His chest was all bloody, but I had no doubt Terry could easily read the word I carved into Grimm's chest. Banned. Then Terry dropped to his knees and threw up. Guess it's going to be a pretty interesting weekend, after all. Well, my spookies, don't get too cozy just yet, because what happened tonight was the opening move. The blizzard isn't just weather. It's a lock turning, the phones dying, the roads disappearing under the snow like they never existed in the first place. And that word, banned, it wasn't a joke. It wasn't a tantrum. It was a promise. Next week in part 2, the convention weekend really begins, and so does the body count. More guests arrive, more egos flare, more secrets come crawling out of the warmth and into the cold. And the killer, well, the killer isn't done leaving messages, because now you've been marked, and there's no way out. So come back here next Wednesday for Banned Part 2. And a big thank you to everybody for joining us. I'm so excited for a new year and new fear here at Weekly Spooky, and I want to say an extra special thank you to our Patreon podcast boosters, folks who went to weeklyspooky.com/join and paid a little extra to hear their names at the end of the show. And they are Johnny Nix, Kate and Lulu, Jessica Fuller, Mike Ishqui, Jenny Green, Amber Hansford, Karen Weemet, Jack Kerr, and Craig Cohen. Thank you all so much, and if you want to hear your name at the end of the show, just head to weeklyspooky.com/join and sign up at the $15 a month or higher tier. It really helps the podcast out, and you get over 6 years of bonus content and 2 bonus shows every single week. But now it's time for me to get back to work, because on Friday we have another Best of 2025 that I know will keep you chilled. So until next time, for myself, for my executive producers Rob Fields and Bobbletopia.com, my creepy composer Ray Mattis, and of course, my producer Dan Wilder, I will be talking at you very, very soon.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to find your way back next week. But for now, you are safe. Trust me.